Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. It's your boy E-Man. Falcons pandemic. We on that plan. All the hype in the city. Let me break it down. Atlanta Falcons, wear the crown. Cruising down Peachtree in my Falcons gear. Pockets on the speakers. E-Man's here. Covering the news. All the buzz on the block. Pandemic family. Yeah, we can't be stopped. Yeah.
Rise up, Bird Gang, rise up. You are locked into the Atlanta Falcons pandemic, one part of the Come On In Sports Network. The only show guaranteed to bring you all the things, all things, up to the minute news, rumors, and analysis on our very own Atlanta Falcons. We break down the play calls, the personnel moves, the wins, the other games, all through the eyes of a true believer. I'm your host, your dedicated Falconologist, E-Man, the trusted voice for diehard Falcon fans who live and breathe this team. Guys, before we get into the latest shakeups in Flowery Branch, I want to extend a massive shout out to you guys, all of my supporters, our amazing audience, our every single subscribers. As we track our way to 1,000, we're just shy of it. So please, thank you for flying with us. Your passion definitely fuels this show. So everyone, grab your wings, settle in. Let's dissect all the drama, all the updated news of our beloved Atlanta Falcons. There's a lot to digest. So Falcon fans, come on in with your comments, come on in with your questions, your thoughts. Without further ado, this is the Atlanta Falcons pandemic. We got this game today, and I'm really actually nervous about this one. We need a bounce back game, right? Rightly so, but after last week, man, it's just one game that I am not truly optimistic about. Although I did pick us to win this game, I'm always pick my home. I'm not gonna say always pick my home team, but I'm gonna always fall with my home team. But the Commanders always seem to play us pretty tough, right? Plus, without Jaden Daniels out, with Jaden Daniels out, Marcus Mariota is getting the start. He was the Falcons quarterback not too long ago. It's the ultimate revenge game. That perfect narrative. And this is the part that really worries me. It's going to be weird seeing him lined up across from us. And we played against Mariota before, but still our run game with Bijan has been solid, and our defense has been a little bit better than expected, especially against the pass. But if Michael Penix can just limit the turnovers, but guys, I don't want to get into last week, right? We all saw what happened last week. We took a butt whooping, dadgum butt whooping at Dak, but at what expense, right? But right now, I'm going to talk about 5 blunders. Actually, it is about last week, and it's not. I don't want to damper today's expectations, but at the same time, last week has to be talked about. I mean, we really do. But I'm going to talk about 5 blunders that's going to kill the Falcons if it continues. When you take into account the bad coaching decisions from last season and what transpired so far this season, the promise of the 2025 season already feels like it's a distant memory, doesn't it? I mean, it feels like it's about ready to give up hope. Seems like we're taking like 3-4 steps backwards. After a promising draft selection that seemingly fits for us, it seems like everything is going 3-4 steps backwards, all because of coaching decisions. And I'm not placing no blame on player performance. Absolutely none. Because the coaches do have to make decisions that put the players in winning positions, right? Don't always be successful with it, but you have to, right? But so far, it seems like we're in a familiar cycle. That frustration, the baffling losses, and let's be clear, the roster is loaded with first-round talent. Your front office has spent the money, and yet after a deeply disappointing 1-2 start, the season already feels shaky, kind of wobbly. But this isn't about a lack of talent. This is about a series of baffling coaching decisions from the sidelines that are actively sabotaging this team. The buck has to stop with the coaching staff from the top to the bottom. Today, we're breaking down the 5 specific coaching blunders that are holding the Falcons back. Number 1, the great quarterback mismanagement. And it's really not about Michael Penix versus Kirk Cousins, right? When you select a quarterback, I'm going to start with this. When you select a quarterback with a renowned cannon for an arm and his surgical deep ball accuracy that propelled the University of Washington to national prominence, and they would not, truth be told, they would not have gotten there without Penix. Yet, just 3 games into the 2025 season, the Falcons' offensive brain trust seemed to intent on grounding the prize Falcon, strapping a governor to a high-performance engine, and wondering why the offense has failed to take flight. The misuse of Michael Penix is a glaring issue, a case of fitting a square peg into a round hole, and it has a significant factor in the team's sputtering 1-2 start. We have put a muzzle on a cannon. We're ignoring Penix. I'm so sorry. Ignoring Penix's greatest asset. At Washington, Michael Penix Jr. was a master of the vertical passing game. His ability to effortlessly launch the ball 50, 60 yards downfield with pinpoint accuracy was a cornerstone of a high-powered offense that stretched the defenses to their breaking point. This elite arm talent was a primary reason the Falcons saw him as their franchise quarterback. And guys, let's talk about that first round pick. When you pick a quarterback, first round, 8th pick, you don't go in thinking that this quarterback is a project. You already know that this quarterback fits the system that you already have in place here. So when he comes in, it's just a matter of learning your playbook, establishing chemistry with the receivers or with the offense. You don't come in drafting a first round quarterback to change how he plays. It just does not happen that way. He has a cannon of an arm. You try to utilize it. Now, you may want to try to show different variations of his style of play, but you do not change it. You do not go away from him. This is your first round franchise pick quarterback. That quarterback already fits the system that you already have in place. At no point should you be thinking to go back into this young man's college career and bring plays up from Washington that you think may work here in the NFL. Now, you may say, okay, I'm going to go back and look at how we can utilize the arm strength and how he, how you can cater to it. But at no point do you think that any of those plays are going to come up here in the NFL and succeed. Because just like you went back and watched his college highlights, guess what, Zach Robinson? Other NFL coaches have done the same thing. But through 3 weeks of the NFL season, Zach Robinson has largely kept that cannon under wraps. The Falcons offense has been categorized by a conservative, horizontal passing attack, prioritizing short, quick throws over the deep shots that Penix excels at. This has resulted in a compressed field for the Falcons, making it easier for defenses to stack the box and bottle up the run game, a fact that has been evident in the team's 2 losses. Now, I'm going to share with you guys this passing attempts and incompletions from last game. Now, when I say that the offense got boxed up, bottled up, I do mean it got boxed up and bottled up. Now, in the green is where the completions happen. The touchdowns, which we didn't have any, will be in blue, but the incomplete and the interceptions are in red and the incompletes are in white. Now, you see how compressed it is? It's no wonder that the safeties played so close up behind the linebackers. Now, on once the Falcons hike the ball, snap the ball, that one free safety takes a couple of steps back, and the strong safety steps up to be a number 4 linebacker, or he steps up to play the run. Or he may help out down low with the short pass. This is what you call bottling up your offense. Now, there are those 2 interceptions that Penix threw, right? Now, granted, they were ill-advised throws. And as some like to say, he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. And those are those mistakes. But at the very onset, these are Zach Robinson called plays. As you take a look at these, 1, 2, 3, 4 passes, 4 passes that were completed beyond the 10 yards. 1 attempt that went down incompleted past 20. You had 1 that was completed at 20. But everything else in green is kind of bottling up Michael Penix's abilities, right? The defense, we made the defense easy for them. We made playing us easy. The play calling, the predictable play calling made it easier for the defense to bottle us up. We didn't have to do it ourselves. They did it. One thing as an offensive coordinator, and you never want to cater to what the defense is doing. You never want to play to the defense. You're a play caller. You want the defense to come play you at all expenses. So if you have a quarterback like Michael Penix with a cannon of an arm, you have to test beyond the 15, 20 yards down the field. You have to test it. That makes those safeties fall back. That makes those cornerbacks play not 5 yards off the receiver, but 8 to 10 yards off the receiver. It makes everybody stand back, fall back. Even the linebackers are back up off the trenches. That way it opens up your run game. And then once, of course, when Bijan gets the ball, he's the defensive guy that will draw in linebackers. So now you got the defensive thinking. Do I fall back? Do I play up close? Do I fall back? Do I play up close? This is called play variation, Mr. Zach Robinson. You put your quarterback under the center. You put them back in the shotgun. They don't know what you want. What are you about to bring up next? That's keeping the defenses on their heels. But the way you called plays last Sunday, you made it very easy for the Carolina defense. But the drastic reduction in deep pass attempts from the end of the 2024 season to the 2025 is clear that something has shifted. This conservative approach not only neutered Penix's most significant strength, but also fails to leverage the talents of receivers like Drake London, who can win contested catches downfield. And how do we know this? You guys remember the game last season against Carolina, where we ran back-to-back plays for Drake London. We didn't change anything. We called the exact same plays for Drake London. The first play, Drake London caught it over the defender, but the referee said that he fell out of bounds. So they brought the ball back out, got another attempt on it. Same exact play with the same defender on him. Almost the identical catch. It was the same play, but the fact that Drake London had to go up and get it makes it seem like it was the same identical play. But it ended with a different result this time. It ended up in a touchdown. That tells you that Drake London would have won more contested throws down the field had Zach Robinson made the attempts. We have the personnel to do it, so it has nothing to do with personnel talent. We got Art Darnell Mooney. Matter of fact, all 8 of our receivers, or 7 of our receivers on the roster that could have played that day, could have went downfield. Even Ray McLeod. And he's not looked up as a downfield receiver. But had Zach Robinson called that play, any one of our receivers could have been at the benefit of Penix's big arm. But we kept Penix in that pistol, a scheme that is at odds with the quarterback because he don't look comfortable. Truth be told, he looked like Matt Ryan back there, indecisive. I mean, we relied on the pistol like it was our go-to. In week 1, the Falcons led the league in the percentage of offensive snaps from the pistol. And that's let's see, only 1 pass attempt from under center. 93% pass rate of shotgun formation. Over 70% run rate out of pistol formation. The 4th lowest play action pass rate in NFL. The lowest deep pass rate in in the NFL at 4%. You're talking about going completely away from your quarterback's strengths. I'm talking about not utilizing not a 1 play action under center. And you rank the bottom of the league in both. And then you call the plays that don't send this young man's talent down the field or strength down the field. And you wondering why your playbook is not working for you. For a quarterback like Michael Penix, who thrives in the shotgun, where he can survey the field and unleash his powerful arm, or that frequent use of the pistol, you have to wonder, like, where did he get this from? Where did Zach Robinson get this from? That pistol formation can telegraph run plays and limit the effectiveness of play action, a crucial element for setting up the deep pass. The result has been a stagnant offense that struggles to find a rhythm and puts an immense pressure on Penix to execute an obvious passing situation. Again, we failed to get into the red zone. For that matter, we failed to even get down to to the Carolina's 30-yard line. So it's no wonder that we're having to settle for 50 and 60-yard field goals and wondering why our kickers can't come through consistently. Which is another situation I'm going to address later on. The mixed use of Penix's skill set is further compounded by an offensive line that has struggled with consistency and has been hit by injuries. Now, granted, the offensive line overall, I think, have played phenomenal. Elijah Wilkinson has played phenomenal outside of the 2 penalties that he got. I think on one play, I think they said that Elijah Wilkinson is credited with, from his side, 9 rushes on Penix. Guys, that is phenomenal play. That is a great play from a backup, not even backup, practice squad tackle. But I don't get what Zach Robinson is, seeing that he needs to keep Michael Penix in that pistol. The conservative play calling may be an attempt to protect Penix, but it is a strategy that is proving to be counterproductive. By not challenging defenses vertically, the Falcons are inviting more pressure on their quarterbacks, as opposing pass rushers do not have the respect to the deep threat because they know we're not going in there. We're showing them over and over again that we're just set on calling conservative plays. A more conservative downfield passing attack along with a commitment to the run game from under center, would not only play to Penix's strength, but will also create more valuable situations for the offensive line by keeping defenses off balance. Now, there was a concern that Elijah Wilkinson wouldn't be able to play well enough to protect Michael Penix's blind side if he goes under center. How do we know this if we don't do it? But we picked the we picked the regular season to test this theory out. When we had all preseason and minicamp to do so. You didn't play your starters, which I thought was a huge mistake. Caleb McGarrett didn't play, and you hardly saw Elijah Wilkinson. The two tackles that should have been there playing, you hardly played them. But misusing a talent like Michael Penix is not just a strategic error. It's a disservice to a player with the potential to be one of the league's most exciting quarterbacks. The Atlanta Falcons haven't been a Ferrari in the garage, but they are contented to drive in the slow lane. If they want to salvage their season and build a sustainable winner, it is time to take the training wheels off and let the Falcons fly. Blunder number 2. An offensive scheme that's too smart for his own good. Zach Robinson was brought in as an offensive coordinator. The promise was a modern, more dynamic West Coast style attack from the Sean McVay coaching tree. That was his promise. You saw the press conferences. It had all of us ecstatic. Couldn't wait till the season to start. For the season, we were anxious to see what was going on in pre-camp. The vision was to play fast and physical, using pre-snap motion to out-scheme defenses and get the ball to the playmakers in space. We saw evidence of that in the last 4 games of the season in 2024. But the reality of 2025, the exact opposite. The offense has looked rigid, predictable, and shockingly inefficient at times. A major issue that carried over from 2024 pre-Michael Penix. While it can be effective, it also made the offense predictable. It's clear that defenses have caught on. We're not the only team that watched tape. This season, the scheme just hasn't evolved. There's a disconnect between Robinson's system and the quarterback running it. The offense that was supposed to be built around Michael Penix's strength, especially his explosive deep ball, hasn't shown up. Instead, defenses are sitting back with 2 high safeties to take away the deep shots, forcing Penix into an uncomfortable checkdowns. Robinson's inability to adapt his scheme, lean on the other run concepts, or create similar reads for his young quarterback is a massive failure. We talked about this earlier in the season, that everybody's going to respect Michael Penix's arm, and they're going to challenge him to make the short throws. But when you decide you want to run away from what will work for you in those short throws, you make the defensive job real easy. The result is an offense with 6 first-round picks that is struggling to find any sort of rhythm, burning timeouts, and failing to execute. It's a system that looks great on a whiteboard, but is failing on the field. You have Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. Truth be told, Darnell Mooney. That's 5 potential 1,000-yard gainers. 5 potential Pro Bowlers. Truth be told, you can throw Nathan Carter in there. He has proved that he can fill that third running back position after what we saw last game. But a significant portion of the fan and media frustration has been directed at offensive coordinator Zach Robinson, hailed as a bright offensive mind from Sean McVay coaching tree. Robinson's offense has been anything but explosive. Through 3 games, the Falcons ranked 31st in the league in points per game, a statistic that starkly contrasts with the offensive talent on the roster. Critics point to a predictable and conservative offense that has failed to utilize the full potential of his players, and it's showing. The Falcons have been heavily criticized for their underutilization of the deep passing game. A curious decision given to quarterback Michael Penix Jr. is renowned for his strength. And furthermore, Robinson play calling has been described as telegraphing its intentions. And the two teams' losses, there have been a noticeable abandonment of the run game, placing an inordinate amount of pressure on Michael Penix behind a struggling offensive line. The lack of creative play action calls, despite a talented backfield, and has been glaring omission. I mean, very few times, I won't say very few, I can count 1, 2, maybe even 3 times where we even utilize Michael Penix's legs. We're not asking Michael Penix to be a recreation of Michael Vick, but when he has an opportunity to pick up short yardage, we need to utilize that. Zach Robinson has evidently omitted that from his total offense. Let's move on to blunder number 3, losing the situational football battle. Head coach Raheem Morris has not been immune to criticism with his game management skills. This is not a new concern. Morris faced similar critiques for questionable clock management last season. These issues have been carried over into 2025. Great coaching isn't just about X and O's. It's about managing the critical moments of a game. And this season, the Falcons coaching staff has been consistently outmaneuvered when it mattered the most. From clock management to fourth down decisions, the team has shown a repeated lack of situational awareness. While specific clock management blunders in the first 3 games have not been as pronounced as in the previous season, there is a palpable pause, a sense of lack of control and decisiveness in crucial moments. The team has appeared disorganized at times, with communication issues leading to wasted timeouts and a general lack of rhythm. And a lot of that rhythm was interrupted because we couldn't get one simple thing in creating communication of getting plays onto the field. Now, during that headset debacle, it took you 4 series to get that fixed. 4 series is far enough time to establish a rhythm. And yet it was sidetracked because of what coming through the headset. Morris's decision making regarding personnel has been questioned. His unwavering public support of a struggling Michael Penix has been noted, but the inability to adjust the offensive game plan to protect the young quarterback and play to the team's strength has been a significant coaching failure. The disastrous 30-0 loss to the Panthers in a game in which the Falcons were thoroughly outcoached in every phase has been amplified. The concerns about about Morris's ability to lead this team. I myself, hands down, I voted for Morris to be here. But now, after everything that has happened, I'm actually thinking Raheem is probably over his head. He needs some help. And right now, he doesn't have anybody on that team that he could turn to. Well, I take that back, because Jeff Albrecht is a former head coach. Not many games under his belt as a head coach, but nonetheless, he is a head coach, a former head coach. But when it comes to game management and an offensive-minded field, offensive side of the ball, he has to rely. He has to firmly rely on Zach Robinson. If I'm not thinking correctly, there aren't any offensive-minded players, coaches on the staff. Well, I take that back. That are higher up that we can rely on. Jeff Albrecht was a defensive coordinator turned head coach. Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator turned head coach. Jerry Gray, defensive coordinator. Who's running the ball? Or who's running the playbook? A first-year coordinator, Zach Robinson, who's questionably was just over there holding that playbook and not learning from it. And what this is what the comment that when he was asked about the pistol, right? The pistol does keep you pretty balanced from a run pass standpoint, he said. Obviously, in the offset gun, there are tendencies to throw the ball. And so being able to stay completely balanced with what we're doing, or what we're doing is what we're trying to do from a run, play, action, keeper, screen, all things that come with it. Again, it's a part of our defense, our offense. Coach, although that right there just tell you he's giving those politically correct answers, right? He's tickling our ears. He's tickling the media ears. All things offensively is a part of the offense. He was right though on one thing. That pistol does kind of keep you balanced because you can throw from it, but it only works if you actually throw the dang ball. If you go play action, if you actually call the right plays to run, it's all a part of our offense. Duh, you don't coach defense, so everything you do is a part of the offense, good or bad. So that statement was like, it was like the one thing that he was hoping that the media did not understand. But the media did not buy it. As soon as he gave that comment, they went in on him. They did not buy it. The other comment that he made, he says that where is it? We don't feel that way, that his offense is when he was asked about his offense being predictable. He says, we don't feel that way. I feel like sometimes when you have these types of games as coaches, he says, okay, do we need to pull back to simplify? Maybe we're trying to do too much from a schematic standpoint. That's always what we're looking at and inward as coaches. Like, okay, maybe we're put too much on the play. We were trying to scheme too much and we need to simplify it. So I will actually kind of counter to say in these moments, you typically try to get simpler. Now, he was trying to simplify it. Let's bring this back up again. Let's bring these play distributions back up again. He's trying to simplify it. That's not simplifying the game for the players. That's giving the game away. When you don't go downfield, you allow yourself to be boxed in as a play caller. You allow your players to be boxed in and ineffective as talented as they are. Now the receivers did drop some passes, and Michael Penix did overthrow a couple. But you got the offense so boxed in. At times we saw receivers in the same area. You didn't stretch the field at all. So this comment that he made about making things simpler, who was he out thinking? He was out thinking himself. Let's go to this right here. 14 carries, 76 yards, 0 touchdown for two of the most prolific running backs in the league. 76 yards, no touchdowns. That is absolutely abysmal. If I'm Raheem Morris, I am flabbergasted. I'm about to blow a top. If my Arthur Blank, somebody would have saw the firing line. and it would have been my decision as to who. And we're going to get into that in a minute too. But it doesn't make sense. 14 carries, 76 yards. That's a single stat for a single running back. Yet you got 2,000-yard rush running backs who was held under 100 yards. That's completely unsatisfactory. I could care less what people think about what went on and what caused us to lose that game. It's coaching decisions that ruined it. And it all falls under Zach Robinson. I mean, it's ruined. I mean, you saw the warning signs in 2024 with coaching decisions. In a key late season game against Washington, I think it was. Poor management clock management at the end of both halves likely cost the team points. And in one instance, the team let 24 seconds burn off the clock inside the opponent's 25-yard line with 3 timeouts. That wasn't against Washington. Who was that against? That wasn't against Washington. But later in the same game, after a huge play put them in field goal range with 33 seconds and 2 timeouts, we failed again to stop the clock, letting precious seconds tick away. Guys, these aren't isolated incidents. They've become a pattern. And in 2025, this pattern has continued, helping turn winnable games into frustrating losses. It's the inexplicable timeout burn right after a commercial break. It's the conservative punt on 4th and short in an opponent's territory. It's the red zone offense that stalls out and settles for field goals. This all points to a lack of preparation and discipline that starts at the top. Raheem Morris has talked a lot about creating a winning culture, but that culture is built by executing in high pressure situations. Right now, the Falcons are losing the situational battle, and that is a direct indication of the coaching. It all stems from him. Guys, these blunders are maddening, and it feels like the same story we've been over before. But I want to know what you guys are thinking. What's been the single most frustrating coaching decision you've seen this season? Let me know down in the comments. And if you're tired of the same old takes, make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. We're going to cover them all this year. We're going to have some good games, too, to talk about. So, like I said, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for the likes so far. But we're going to get into situation number 4, the blunder number 4. A defensive philosophy and name only. Now, like I said, we had a phenomenal draft. And there's not a whole lot to take from the defense because the defense did have a phenomenal game against Philadelphia. They got tested right out of the gate against Tampa Bay. So those 2 games I will give you. Now, people may say, well, against Carolina, they played pretty good. Not 30 points, pretty good. But when Raheem Morris was hired, the one thing you supposedly count on was a defense competence. He's a defensive-minded coach, a Super Bowl winning assistant, and someone who came back to Atlanta with the reputation for building tough, disciplined units. But not, mind you, like I said, the defense has played well, with all things considering. Myself, I'm looking for the defense to improve, not implode. You know, with talent like Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell, who's out for this game, and a fortified defensive line, this unit was supposed to be the backbone of the team. And so far this season, it showed its promise, but it only showed a shell of its potential. It has shown its inconsistency in critical moments. But they also have stood up and some more critical and other critical moments. But the core of Morris's philosophy is supposed to be about elevating talent through scheme. We're seeing a defensive guy that can't get a key stop, give up back breaking drives, and doesn't create game changing turnovers. We've got a couple of interceptions. Minnesota was one game, guys, but we failed to get into the end zone. It's too early to make a real good observation about the defense. Yes, we were tested out the gate and got tested well against a stout Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Minnesota, outstanding. Carolina, it seemed like they broke. They bend and they broke. And that's the problem. The problem is nobody knows what this defense is trying to be. Is it a blitz heavy aggressive unit, or is it a bend don't break scheme? The answer seems to change week after week. And that's why I was talking about that consistency. Can we either see the improvement or you see the consistency? Either one. You don't want to see us take a step back like we did with Carolina. And again, coaching. The players on defense we know their instincts. They're all very talented players, but they all look a step slow. This isn't a talent issue. It's a coaching issue. A defensive-minded head coach is supposed to provide a clear identity. Right now, the Falcons defense is underperforming, and that failure falls squarely on the shoulders of Raheem Morris. But like I said, it's just a little too early to draw that conclusion. So we're going to remain optimistic about the defense, all because of Jeff Albrecht. But Raheem Morris, being the head coach, is going to have to shoulder the blame for any relapses. Last but not least, blunder number 5, panic moves and a lack of accountability. When a season starts to spiral out of control, the true test of a coaching staff is how they react. Do they show a steady hand, identify the core problem and fix them, or do they panic? After the humiliating 30-0 loss to the Carolina Panthers, the pressure skyrocketed. In these moments, you look for leadership and a clear plan. Instead, what we often see are moves that feel more like a shuffling deck chairs than fixing the real issue. Just 3 weeks into the 2025 season, the Atlanta Falcons, under the leadership of second-year head coach Raheem Morris, find themselves in a turbulent sea of coaching scrutiny. With a disappointing 1-2 record, an anemic offense, and a questionable end-game decisions, the early optimism that I had surrounding the team has quickly gone away, guys, replaced by mounting criticism aimed at Morris and offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. The most significant and contra move of the season was the firing of a position coach, wide receivers coach, Ike Hilliard. The timing of the dismissal the day after the shutout loss to Carolina has led many to believe that Hilliard was made as scapegoat. So you get your behind handed to you in an embarrassing loss. Shout out to those Carolina Panthers. They pulled out the win. They did what they're supposed to do. But when you get your behind handed to you 30-0 by the 0-2 Carolina team. Now, Carolina's in the same situation that we were in with Arthur Smith. He wanted to be that play caller. You can't be both. Either you're going to be a head coach, you're going to be an offensive coordinator. Now, there are very few coaches that can do both and excel at it. Now, granted, the wide receiver core has had its share of struggles with creating separation and drop passes to lay the entirety of the balance of the blame for a 31st ranked scoring offense at the feet of a single position coach is a move that has been widely seen as a desperate attempt to deflect criticism. And that's that. Raheem Morris, Zach Robinson, not holding themselves accountable. You fire a position coach mid-season, it's not going to change the outcome, or wouldn't have changed the outcome of that game. But like I said, firing a position coach or changing a coordinator where he's in the booth or down on the field is deflecting. Now, granted, Zach Robinson does need to be down on that field. That would have eliminated those communication problems. Everybody can agree on that. But it would not have made a bit of difference if he didn't call the right plays. The offensive line inability to protect Michael Penix, the predictable play calling, the overall lack of offensive identity are far more significant issues that the firing of a position coach is unlikely to rectify. Hilliard's firing is viewed by many as a superficial move to appease a frustrated fan base and a nervous ownership, rather than the right step toward solving the deep-rooted problems plaguing the Falcons offense. Now, guys, we all were here last season. Those of you who watched the Falcons last year, we all saw the wide receivers play last year. Our wide receivers played phenomenal last year. Ike Hilliard was here last year. And this is just my thought, but I think Ike Hilliard had a lot to say about that Carolina loss. Or he viewed his opinions during the game and he stepped on some toes. Because I refuse to believe that a position coach, wide receiver, who coached the season before, could be blamed for a 30-0 blunder. I refuse to believe it. Even if he had came in and told Drake London, hey, instead of forming that triangle with your hands, catch it with your chest or cup it. Even if he had went that far, it would not have accounted for a 30-0 blunder. I mean, his firing, that's a move that signals a growing concern within the organization. The Falcons announced that Robinson will be moved from the coach's booth to the sideline for future games in an effort to improve communication and to get a better feel for the game. Guys, shouldn't it have been worked out in preseason? You get your feel for the game, because just like the players have to practice, coaches have to practice as well. You get the feel for the game. You get into a rhythm, calling plays. You establish that early, especially as a first-year coordinator. You establish that chemistry with your players, your feel for the game early, as soon as possible. As soon as the day you're given the clear to practice, you establish that on the onset. First-year coordinator, we get that down pat, so it does not become an issue during the regular season. You want to minimize any concerns in preseason, any concerns in minicamp. But this points to the ultimate blunder, a lack of true accountability. Who are they going to point the finger at next? This one, you point the finger at a position coach, Ike Hilliard. Who's left? Who's next? At his end of the 2024 press conference, Morris stated that the work for 2025 started that day and that everything had to be evaluated. Yet the team is stumbling over the same mistakes that were made last season. Instead of fixing the foundational issues, the flawed offensive scheme, the poor situational awareness, the quarterback drama, the staff seems to be searching for any easy answers. These kinds of reactions don't instill confidence. They just create more instability and show a lack of leadership. that's out of ideas. So who's going to get blamed for the next blunder? But as the Falcons head into a crucial stretch of the season, the pressure on Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson is immense. The firing of Ike Hilliard may have bought them some time, but it also has put them squarely in the crossfires. If the offensive woes and questionable calling continues, the 2025 season for the Atlanta Falcons could be defined by more than just on-field struggles, but by a complete overhaul of his coaching leadership. This isn't about one bad game. Fans, this is a pattern of failure that stems directly from the sideline. Raheem Morris was brought in to get his team over the hump. And the Falcons right now instead are stuck in the same loop of disappointment that has been defined by this franchise for 7 straight losing seasons. The question is no longer about if major changes are needed, but how soon will they come? And guys, we all know that Raheem Morris is not going anywhere. We're still paying for Arthur Smith. Raheem Morris is on the contract. And if we fire Morris, bring in another head coach, that'd be 3 head coaches that we're paying to get a job done. So Raheem Morris is not going anywhere. Zach Robinson is in the hot seat. I have never seen a offensive coordinator, first year or otherwise, that has this much talent on his roster and could not succeed. If I'm wrong, guys, you bring it to front. Bring it down to the comment section. Let's talk about it. Like I said, even Kyle Shanahan, for that matter, Shanahan, he had a very talented roster, but he made one coaching mistake that ruined it. But you're seeing an ongoing pattern with Zach Robinson. This was not Shanahan's way of coaching. Shanahan didn't get his blunder into the Super Bowl. But guys, that is it for this one. Like I said, I'm your host, E-Man, and we're looking for the best today for our Atlanta Falcons. So, but guys, thank you guys so much for joining me today for this segment. I really didn't like doing this one. I was hoping to be doing something a little more positive. Let's hope today that that we have more better news, more better updates, more better that's bestowed upon our Falcons. But let's hope for the best today in the win against these Commanders. Not like we can't beat them. We can beat those. We can beat the Commanders. Michael Penix is, I mean, I don't know. I think he wants that competitive. He wants that competition. The better the game, the better Michael Penix. But Zach Robinson has to put this young man in better position to be successful. It's all on Zach Robinson. Raheem Morris does not call the plays. But he does have to shoulder the responsibility of not saying anything and not firing a position coach for whatever reason. Let your ego go, Mr. Raheem Morris. Your ego will destroy this franchise if you don't get involved like you're supposed to. But like I said, guys, thank you for joining me on this one. Like I said, we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. I thank you all for subscribing and keeping up with the watching of the channel, the likes, comments. I have a lot of comments that I have not gotten into yet, but I will finish them out today. So look forward to answers to those. Once again, guys, thank you so much. And as always, we do as Falcons continue to rise up. Peace.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's your boy E-Man. Falcons pandemic, we on that plan. All the hype in the city, let me break it down. Atlanta Falcons, wear the crown.